feeling kinda tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day, so you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in to Powerhouse. Wednesday 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? When you need something to just ride to on the go, or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe.
Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, August 17, y'all. August 17.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Let's Gripe. We're glad to be here this evening on this mid-Wednesday in August, as Tonia stated. My, does the time fly. We hope everyone has been doing well. And yeah, MG, I see MG joined us. Hey, MG.
MG said he's running a little late, so he's taking care of some stuff. So I guess he's going to turn the camera on when he's ready. But Mckenna, it's almost September.
Listen, we have had this conversation. I said it was going to be Labor Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So we are right around the corner to Labor Day. And Labor Day, as we know, signifies the end of summer. Although it's not technically the end of summer, it is the end of summer. So whatever summer frolicking plans that you had, you have a couple of weeks to get it in before the switch of seasons. Because like towards the end of September, you start to feel that one little crisp, cool day. You'll have that one morning where you wake up and you'll think, it's a little cool. And then temperature will go back up. So we're coming around that curve.
But Mckenna, when I went outside today, I felt that Christmas. I checked, I said, Google, what's the weather? He said some 77 degrees. Now that, I was shocked for August the 17th.
See, well, we know what global warming says. You never know what the weather's going to be like. So
it's amazing, but we've been we had a little mini break for about 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks? I think it's 2 weeks. Okay. But so much things has happened since then. But before we even go forward with the things that might have happened that we're going to talk about, any gripe, Mckenna?
I don't really have, any new gripes. The gripes that I have are the ongoing ones with the cost of food, people struggling to stay in their lane when you do drive. But no, I think everything's been pretty okay. No real gripes this past couple of weeks. What about you?
Well, I'm always going to have gripe, but why my gripe is that lately I have been telling grown folks to be nice. Why not tell grown folks to be nice?
Wait a minute now. Be nice.
I said it. Would you like me to elaborate?
I thought we talked about this before. Everybody be nice, be kind, especially after COVID, because people are going through hard times, and we just have to respect people's differences and get along. Like, we've talked about this.
We did.
Okay, so what happened?
All right, for once. Number one, I had a client was, I guess, displeased with something that they actually didn't read the whole details. It's like you see the first line that I apologize, but you didn't read the full line to see what it is really about. And started with the argument. Good evening. Started with an argument, right? Had an attitude. First, it was argumentative, had an attitude, and I'm just listening, and I allowed them to speak, say what they had to say. Then I had to back it up, and afterwards, I had to jump in with, "Well, I am so sorry you feel that way. Well, let's take a look into that and see what has happened." So as I began to assess the issue, they realized they didn't read the whole thing. And that's why they say reading is fundamental. That's what this person is saying. And I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for explaining that to me. So then I had to turn around and say, now, originally, when you started off the conversation, what if I match your energy? What if I matched it? And the individual was like, you're right. No, I don't want to be right. I'm just saying, this conversation could have went left because that energy. So me saying that rolls over into, there was a situation at the airport. I think it was Spirit Airline employee, a male, was pretty much, there was some kind of altercation. They were going verbally. I'm not sure of what has happened. But this young lady, first of all, I'm not jumping in no man face like that. Okay? I'm not. And my mother always told me, keep your hands to yourself. Now somebody hit you, you got all well positioned to do what you need to do. And as a young man got in between, because it seemed that it was like, spiraling, he was like, she touching me, I'm telling her not to touch me. So a man, black man, intervened in the middle to like say, just chill. So he more facing the guy to say, hey, don't pay her no mind. This young lady decides to go over. First she mushed him. And he said, see, she put her hands on me. Then she had the nerves to do a second one. Pew! Yes, that young man, he turned out, he went from, she put her hands on me, she touching me, to a quarterback, not a quarterback, a linebacker that one of them Atlanta team needs. Hey guys, hello. He just took off. He was like, all bets are off now. I'm not even looking at the gender, nothing. So it became a big thing on social media as far as, was he right or was he wrong? And I want to say maybe 70% said he was right. The other 30% was saying he was wrong. I don't get it though. It's not even about a gender at this point, male or female at this point. It is about, you put your hands on someone. It doesn't matter if he's at work or not. Then you started to provoke the situation more. But you see, she got badder and badder when this man came in between, like telling him, hey, just back off. Don't pay her no mind. And while this guy's facing, the other guy telling him, hey, chill, don't even sweat her. She decided she want to do a little mush. Then she want to do a... And then when she realized what she did, because you could tell she realized, like, oh, snap. She was trying to run. And he did. He gave, when he finally tackled her to the ground and got up, and he gave her an uppercut. I didn't blame him. And people were saying how he shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have went back and forth. It doesn't matter. We can go verbal, back and forth, argue, back and forth. It doesn't give you a warrant to hit someone. Which he did. She did. And she deserved it. I was team dude. Because when you hit someone, you are basically given permission to do whatever it is you need to do. She said when she spat was when she should have been slapped. So I guess our listeners, they saw the video.
Mm.
But are we still not behaving in the airport?
No, I'm sorry. Hey, how y'all doing? Can
Hey,
y'all hear me?
Marcus like, I gotta get this one real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. Um, this is what I say, man. Like, I don't believe in putting your hands on anybody. However, the way old boy was coming at her, it was a bit much for me. You know what I mean? Like he tackling her and doing all this other stuff. Like once you, he tackled her like, like you said, like a linebacker. And I'm like, why though? Like I saw that she hit him. Okay, she got a good lick in there. Okay, have her arrested, have her removed. But you going after her like she.
Marcus,
Mm-mm.
Marcus, that was in the beginning of this whole pandemic, this whole crazy last 2.5 years. That was in the beginning. Nah, Marcus, nah. Sorry.
So the
You
only
can't
thing
put your
I'll
hands
add,
on nobody.
I'll
I
just
don't
add
care.
this.
Mckenna, we can't hear you. Still can't hear you, Mckenna.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted now. The only thing I was going to add is when you push somebody's buttons, you don't know how they're going to respond. It's like poking the bear. And I think she poked the bear, and the bear just responded in a primitive way, which was fight or flight. And the bear decided to fight. And sometimes when you start the fight, you just go all in because that's what your instincts tell you to do. At that point, you have lost the restraint to say, well, I'm just going to spank you a little bit, or I'm just going to tap you a little bit, or I'm going to tackle you a little bit. Like people who played football weren't taught to tackle lightly. They were taught to go full steam ahead until you get them down. Go for those ankles, get them down. If you were a wrestler, you learn how to put that move so that person can't move. If you're a is it MMA or WWE? Whichever one of those, mixed martial arts or wrestling.
MMA.
Okay. Then you're taught to do the same thing. So something probably clicked in him, and maybe he did go too far. And so that's another reason why we should avoid poking the bear. After you mush them and then hit them again and continue to participate in the back and forth banter, I'm not saying you got what you deserved. I'm just saying that sometimes we have to be mindful of how our actions create consequences. And that was the consequence of the action on both of their parts.
Well, you see Amuse KMT says she got what she bought and she walked out into what she walked into the store to buy.
As a resident
And
male on this show, I'm not with it at all, man.
and
This
and,
is
and, and Marcus, I get it. I get it, and I commend you. I commend you for if that was to happen to you, you would be able to control yourself to differentiate. This is not a reflex, but that's a female, and I'm just gonna have her go to jail. I will, and please, my comment, my opinion is basically mine. It has nothing to do with the Powerhouse Radio and Victorious Radio 89.1. But I know, and anyone that knows me, I have a mild temper. I'm not a hot tempered person. I'm not a hot headed person. I don't cuss. I don't argue. I'm non-confrontational. But I will tell you, I do lose it when someone put their hands on me. So that's why you're not supposed to put your hands on someone. People lately, I've heard on one side customers saying customer services went to the dogs, and you hear customer service reps saying the customers think it was Burger King, you can have it your way, or they're always right. But honestly, if you think about it, if a person is going in aggressive and the other person on the receiving end is in that defense mode, what's going to happen? That conversation is not going to go good. That situation is not going to go good. Versus, even if it's face to face or if it's behind the scenes. We know behind the scenes, customers could be horribly rude. They call you out your name, the most. But now they're actually doing it face to face, in person. People, one young man lost his life over giving a mother cold fries. She called her son. Her son come. His girlfriend gives her a gun. Gives him a gun. And he took someone, child, friend, cousin, nephew, grandchild, for cold fries. Then you have a young man that was awaiting trial, out on bond. He called 911 to complain about cold fries. They ran a background check. He got a warrant for his arrest. Then, how many people? I mean, these videos are every day. One lady, I guess she said the fast food worker had an attitude. She left, went next door to a store, get a box of egg, almost $4 an egg, just to throw it at the workers behind the counter.
Okay, so what is really wrong with people today? I mean, you took time to go next door and buy some eggs so that you could come back and throw the eggs at the workers. What kind of person does that?
And talking smack while she throwing it. How is that cute? How is that making? And what happened to? I'm gonna call corporate. I'm gonna let them know about my service. I know when I complain, they're gonna give me something to come back to the store, apologize. I'm gonna get a gift card, maybe $50, $100, or that person might get retrained. What happened to going to corporate? So now we pulling out guns. Now we want to hit somebody. Now we want to be bad. Marcus, like I said, I commend you for being the upstanding guy that you are. But if I was a dude, she would have got that plus more. But then here it is. How no one intervened when she was trying to throw hands on him the whole time. Why no one? Everyone had their phone out though. They did. They did pull the phone out.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody seems to say, okay, he talking to this young man trying to get him to defuse the situation. Let me go on a hot. Come here, man. Don't do that. Don't you know you could go to jail getting crazy in the airport? No one decided to intervene with her. But now, after it escalated and he had to knock her out, now everybody want to say he should have just walked away, call 911. 911 got to try to catch them murderers out there right now. I'm just saying.
All I can say is this is a teaching opportunity and a learning moment, for somebody to play this tape back in a classroom, have a conversation at the dinner table. Let's talk about all the things that went wrong in this interaction. Because that could be anybody on any given Sunday. You go to the register, the person rings up your order. You notice, yeah, you misrung up my order. They have an attitude. They sling the bag at you. We've all been in the situation where the service person slings something at you. You have to pause and think real quick, like, how am I going to respond to the fact that she slung something at me? I mean, I was like, can you take all of this away and redo it? Because, I'm here on my dime, so I'm going to hold up your table because I don't like the service. So we're going to do all of this over. Could you take it all back and we're going to try again? And if it doesn't work for you, bring somebody else who's ready to serve me, because clearly you slinging things at me is not the way to go. But I just prayed for us as a community, and we've talked about people need to have more patience, more love. They need to find ways to talk to people in a way that's respectful. And these are just examples of how we don't do a good job of communicating with each other. And we don't do a good job when we're upset about something, communicating in a way that doesn't escalate to the point of a beatdown. And then we don't do a good job of making that pivot when we see the escalation out of control. One person has to be the bigger person. And sometimes it's you. Sometimes you're that person that's going to have to take 2 steps backwards so that the escalation doesn't occur. Sometimes you're the person that's going to have to hold your tongue. Sometimes you might be that person that has to walk away. We have this culture that says, well, nobody's going to disrespect me, and this person's not going to talk to me a certain kind of way, and this person's not going to treat me a certain kind of way. Sometimes we have to bite that for safety of yourself and safety of the people around you. Even in these road rage situations, you talked about a gripe. It's not a new gripe. It's about people being disrespectful in traffic. You see the ambulance, you hear the ambulance coming. Why are you zooming around me? The ambulance is coming. This is why we slow down. You're not even respecting the fact that this person is trying to get to an emergency. What if that was your loved one? You would want everybody to move out the way so that the ambulance could do his or her job and get to the scene. So let's all take an opportunity to think about how we ourselves respond in these situations, and just do a better job all the way around. And then when you are around people, because we all know hot-tempered people, tap your hot-tempered person friend on the shoulder and say, hey, do you have to be hot-tempered all the time? Maybe you're supposed to learn some patience. As a matter of fact, I had that conversation with a person of interest, and I said to that person, the last two conversations we had, it was about you and your hot temper. Look in the mirror and focus on what you can control. It's not always about the other person. Your parents teach you this. They tell you it's not what other people do, it's what you do. You're the one that has to be accountable for what you do, not the other person. How did you respond?
I love it. Marcus, you want to chime in?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think in a lot of those situations, somebody has to do something as an employee of that space. I think it's always better to at least get someone else if they can help you. I don't know the guy's position at the airport, um, but there's a lot of protocols that you should follow. So what I saw was from the video, I didn't watch all of it, of course, but I saw, you know, him continue to get in her personal space, or continue to get in his personal space. So it's kind of like, why you continue to go back and forth in this manner? Because I mean, a lot of us has been in customer service for a long time. You know what I mean? And we've dealt with irate customers, irate people. And one of the things that, I mean, I guess it depends on which day they catch you. And maybe it was his day. I don't know. But he felt like not today. Um, but it's also a line that you don't cross. And just like I said earlier, from a male's perspective, not that he shouldn't have whatever he did, but the way even when they separated them, the way he felt like he needed to get back at her or come towards her again was the part that got me. You know what I mean? Like if the first, like if she hit him and his first response was like, "Bam, I'm gonna tap up." I get it. That's your reaction. But once she was separated, he tried to go after her again. You know what I mean? And so I was kind of like, nah, no, don't do it like that. Just let it go for what it is. You got your little lick in there. You tackled her a little bit. Let that go for what it is. And then you take the proper channels, call whoever you need to call, and then you get on up out of there. And maybe she won't ever fly that airline again, or be allowed, be allowed in the airport at that airline. I don't know what the consequences would be. But I did hear you talk about kind of like how people aren't calling customer service is because they don't have instant gratification. You got to call this number, maybe talk to that person, maybe talk to this person, and what results do you have? You don't know, because once you leave, you don't know if that person is going to get, you want them to get fired, or you don't know what's going to happen in that situation. So I think people just want instant gratification for it.
Right, but then so here's the thing. Like I was saying, as far as you call corporate, 9 times out of 10, you're really not going to be able to get someone fired unless it's really, really like some really serious stuff out, not following company policy and procedures, so forth and so forth. So let's think about it. We all know back in the days, you call for say, for instance, McDonald's, they gave you cold fries when you ordered it, and by the time you got it and drove off, it was cold, the line was on, you didn't want to go back. We all know. They always tell you that they'll send you a gift card, you come back, this, that, whatever. Okay, so if it's that serious, just give my money back. Give my money back. Everyone is complaining that gas is high, food is high, but you're still going to these fast food restaurants. So I look at all of that to say that if you're not going to get things perfect the way you want it unless you do it yourself. So that's one of the things that I look at when it comes to things like that, especially at fast food restaurants and restaurants. Secondly, again, once you raise your hands at someone, you have to be prepared for the outcome. Marcus, you wouldn't have hit that person back, but another person would. My thing is that people need to understand and respect people. My golden rule of life every day that I live by: do unto others as you have them do unto you. I don't want no one to hit me. I don't want no one to steal from me. I don't want no one to be mean to me. So guess what? I'm going to not do the same thing. I went to a, Atlanta Jamaican Association ball this weekend. Marcus, yes, it was. They had the ball this weekend. Remember last year you came to the Repu Parish out at the park. So this year they had the 60th Independence Ball. And for all who doesn't know, I am assistant secretary of that organization, nonprofit organization. However, I was in charge of the door as far as allowing people to come and to get their get checked in by the event. So as I work in the door and I'm like, everyone was lined up and I was like, good evening, everyone. Can I have everyone to have their barcode available for scanning? And I would tell them, okay, can you go to this line? And, when the line was available. So this one lady, she proceeded to go before her time and she was actually going in front of someone that I had directed to come. So I was like, excuse me, I'm sorry. She was next. Can I ask you to go back to the line? So she was like, okay. And, went on proceeding. And as I was directing other people and just waiting for someone else to be available to assist her, I heard her. Apparently, the next person who was with her said something. Don't know what that person said. But what I heard she said was, she said, excuse me, and told me that it wasn't my time. And when I heard, I looked up at them and I said, yeah, my mom taught me manners. I don't know anything else. Because the other person was trying to make it be a problem. And she turned to the person and she said, no. She said, excuse me. And I said, I know they wasn't used to that. Being in from the Jamaican culture, we can be some rude people. Okay, they got some attitude, so that's why they never could detect if I got a little bit or some or a lot of blood in me. And I know for a fact they was wondering who I was, where I was from. Maybe I was paid to do that job because of my mannerism, because they had hired some cadets from Stockbridge High School from the ROTC program to work, to do the scannings, and they got paid. That I thought that was awesome because, like I said, nonprofit organization, and they support a lot of things. I thought that was nice. And I remember when I just got there, they were saying, okay, Tonia is going to be the one to direct them to the table to get checked in because Jamaican people can be so rude. That's all I heard. That's all I heard. And I'm like, oh my goodness, they're getting these teenagers scared. They're probably like, oh my God, are you serious? Is it that bad? But it didn't work out that way because I approached everyone that night with good evening. Good evening. Can I ask everyone to have their barcode ready for check-in? Next, can you go to this line, please? Thank you. The whole night, my demeanor doesn't change. And I looked at that. I was like, oh my goodness, this would have been something that would have been being videotaped to even, like you said, Mckenna, for a teaching thing. Because sometimes people are like, next, can I get the next person up? But that's not my demeanor. But I noticed how smoothly it went. And when one of the treasurer of the organization came down later, I was like, Tonia, I knew you was going to handle it. I just looked at her like, girl, please. Because first, once you start off nice, that energy right there was VIPs coming in. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I apologize. Can you move over to the side for a moment? We will get someone to help you in a moment. And I saw it took a little moment for that person to come to take care of them. I was like, I do apologize. Can you give us another moment? They was like, sure. But again, it could have went left. if I was rude or did not care, did not show any empathy or anything like that, they would say. So bottom line, the only way you're going to get things to happen is just being kind and being your right mind. Because acting crazy is not going to get you nothing. And that's my gripe today. Can we just be kind, please?
We can try. We can all do a better job. So what's going on out here in these celebrity streets?
Woo! Which one of the streets? So we got a few going on. Nipsey got a star in Hollywood.
That's interesting.
Right, Marcus? If he didn't die, I wouldn't have known of him. So
yeah.
Elaborate on that's interesting, Marcus.
I like Nipsey a lot. His perspective on things. I'm not sure how the Hollywood star works. I thought it was I guess it's for people in the entertainment industry. I understand a lot of his concepts are pretty dope, but I don't know. It seems like it's a lot of other people who had a lot more skin in the game, that won't have their star out there. You know what I mean? So I'm a little, you know, I guess I get it, but I don't get it. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. I think it's a lot of things surrounding him, his passing and everything else that, you know, I thought he was on the uptick. He was on the, he was coming up, and what he was doing, and a lot of people were finding out about him. I don't think he was there yet. Um, for a lot of the things that are going on. But, I guess, people, once you pass, people do a deep dive on your life and your concepts about life, which I thought for him was pretty dope in what he was doing. He was aggressively doing things for his community, you know, buying things, trying to educate people in his community. So he's doing a lot of community work. He, he had albums. I don't know about the sales of the album or anything like that. But the music was pretty good. But like I said, I just don't know about the Hollywood star, and maybe it's more of a symbolic star. I don't know. I could be wrong.
So, question, Marcus, do you think that is because he was killed that they gave him that star?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he would have got one if he was alive right now. You know what I mean? But I don't know what his accomplishment would be from the time that that he passed away until now. I don't know what his accomplishments would have been. Like I said before, he was aggressively, essentially buying back the block or his block or whatnot. So it's a lot you could accomplish, but I don't know what the qualifications are, who's in charge of it, of Hollywood stars or whatnot. But I always thought you had a little bit more skin in the game in order to get the Hollywood star. But I could be wrong.
Because, like I said, I have not heard of Nipsey Hussle, and when he got killed, and I remember that day on Instagram and Facebook, you were just seeing so much. Like everyone was just like, it reminded me of like when Prince and Michael Jackson passed, and I was like, who is this guy? And so yes, for me, it was a shock that he received the star. If that's one way to honor him, because of his untimely passing, I get it. Mckenna, did you want to chime in on that before we get to the next one?
No, I mean, I think MG covered it. It's really interesting how he was chosen to get this star, in Hollywood. Other people who have gotten the star, we can see, oh, okay, why this happened. And I'm not knocking, why he got it, but it just is sort of interesting, the timing, and, it's posthumous. So, had he not lost his life, would he be a contender, or would his name have been in the hat or even in the conversation at this juncture, maybe later, after he had accomplished some more of the things that he stood for. But it is interesting why and how people are chosen to be acknowledged. And, he had a huge, well, he had a fan base of people who supported him. People supported him more after he was gone than it seemed, or at least more attention was brought to him. After, of course, he passed away. But again, who are those people on those committees that make those decisions about, who gets acknowledged and who doesn't? And sometimes it's political, sometimes there's some money behind it. Sometimes it's a favor. It's okay. Listen, you owe me one, so go ahead and put his name in the hat. And that's how Hollywood moves, and we know how politics works. And so I'm sure there was a combination of all of the above that happened in this incident. But we'll celebrate to celebrate because we're not haters on the Powerhouse Radio.
Well, you see, Mama Asset said they gave the star to try and draw in more minorities interest to the institution that really doesn't care about Black people but makes money off of all of us all the time. So yeah, that could be it, because we just saw that what is it, Jennifer Williams from Blackish, she played in a few more shows, movies, and comedies, and she just recently got hers, and she's been in the game for a long time. So like she said, it's probably trying to get more minorities,
is that the
especially
mama?
younger ones. I'm sorry?
Is that the mama?
Yes.
Oh yeah, she's been putting in a lot of work. So,
Yeah, she's been working for decades, and she just
right,
recently received one. So I
right,
guess
and that's what I'm saying. Like, so you have people like her, not to cut you off, but you have people like her who've been doing it for decades, who put in a lot of work, and it's definitely interesting that they chose it, and maybe it is one of those things, like you said, where you're trying to appease a certain, I guess, demographic, and you picking a name that you thought, because of when he passed, was very popular, that would
right,
appease.
the younger, oh yeah, yes, the
Mm-hmm,
younger generation, yes.
mm-hmm, that would appease that demographic, something that they can gravitate towards. But for me, I'm a little bit different because I've been watching movies since I can remember. You know what I mean? So like, I've seen a few actors and actresses who put in the time, been on this show, taking roles they didn't they didn't want to take, stuff like that. So people that put in a lot of time and probably will never get their start on the Hollywood Boulevard. So so just think it's interesting, but congratulations to him. I don't know what it does as far as like his family and stuff like that or whatever, but congratulations to him and his family.
Well, we got to say shout out to everyone that is tuning in and chiming into the conversation. Sorry we can't get to every one of them. So we got to give a special shout out to Karen all the way in North Carolina. We got my cousin Garfield all the way in Queens, New York, tuning in with us tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We got Mama Acid. We got Cam. Can't forget Cam, one of our loyal listener and also our co-host. She joined us a lot of times. And everyone else who was not chatting, and you're there because I see you over there. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Please like and subscribe and share the powerhouseradio.com. Also, you can call in at 706-955. Let me see if I remember that last 4 digits. But, it's about to scroll on the screen. But you can also tune in at 89.1 Victoria's Radio on Wednesday. Don't forget Mama Acid and Lady D on Reasoning Thursday. Go to thepowerhouseradio.com so you can actually see all the listing of the new shows. But guys, it's so much that's been going on. We can't keep up. Oh, there go that last 4 numbers. That's 2001. So now I will always remember. So we're here. Don't forget to email us at letsgripe@gmail.com. Any topics you want us to talk about. We still got the Peach Corner around the corner, so you can send us some letters or even some questions so we can address them every Wednesday. There was one other thing that I wanted to touch. So I think we did touch on R. Kelly. Did we? Was we here when he received 30 years?
Yeah, we talked about that.
We talked about that. So now they are selecting another set of jury for another whatever they're trying him for, and he doesn't want anyone on that jury who have seen the documentary Surviving R. Kelly. Y'all, what y'all think about that?
They can
In
pick me. I ain't seen
entertainment
the shit.
news.
I haven't seen it either. So there are people out there who haven't seen it, and I get it because you may have a preconceived, formulated opinion based on what you saw in the documentary. So I mean, I understand the thought behind that, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about R today. Mm.
We not. All right. So there was a sad news. I think it was 2 weeks ago when the nurse in California, apparently she was driving 100 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour, and ran into multiple vehicles and 6 people, including the sixth one was a fetus. My mother was not even a fetus. She was almost ready to, have the baby. And how about she came out with scratches and bruises after all these cars exploded, caught on fire. They just finally identified the remaining 2 victims.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's sad because I saw the video and I'm baffled at like what was going on with her to be going that fast
But
in
if
an
you
area.
guys, Marcus, don't mean to cut you, but if you
Go ahead.
saw that video, you knew what she was trying to do, right? No one drives that fast on a road. That was a main street. We don't drive like that when we know that there's traffic light. Every how many before quarter mile? This, y'all know me, I'm always finding something behind everything. This woman was trying to commit suicide by vehicle. Not allegedly, because no one drive that fast on a local road, y'all. When my vehicle going 85 on the interstate, honey, I'll be ready to brake. So on a regular main road where we know there's traffic lights, people crossing. So you mad? They saying she had an argument with her boyfriend. Okay, you mad? Whatever it is, you want to end your life, and that's how you decide to do it. And look, you got bruises, and you took 6 lives. Now you're gonna have to live with that for the rest of your life. So you did take your life, because there's no more life that you will live. Because you going to stay the rest of your life in prison. I can't see her getting, they said she could get up to 100 years. I could see the judge adding another 25 to that 100. Because that was pure malice. We don't condone suicide. Mental illness is real, whatever the situation is. But did you not think about other lives? All right. So we have they said she has a mental issue. That is not her first incident. Okay. But why are you trying to do it in the car? If it ain't happened all those other times. It's sad.
It's just another example of how, how we talk about check on your folks, and check in with your people and pay attention to their signs and tap them on the shoulder when you notice things that are not going well with them. And of course, we're as community at large is not responsible for everybody's actions, but we do bear the responsibility for our community and we bear the responsibility for each other. And so it just reminds me of who do I need to check on this week? Who do I need to reach out to? Who had a bad experience? Who's right there on the edge waiting for somebody else to disrespect them or holler at them or not pay them on time or speak to them rudely or, whatever that one thing is that's going to push them over the edge. And so it's very sad. People lost their lives. Somebody's life will never be the same because of this one person's action. And every week when you watch the news, almost every day when you watch the news, somebody is hurting, somebody is dying, somebody has just experienced a trauma. And I think that we are so numb to trauma that, we put up this wall so that it doesn't penetrate us. So we don't feel that empathy that we should have for people when they're going through things, because we're just so used to hearing, oh, as a matter of fact, there was a fire recently. One of my friends, her neighbor's house burnt to the ground. I mean, that was so traumatic. Like, she took video of it, and we're looking at this like, oh my goodness. What would it be like to lose everything in a house fire and all you can do is stand outside and watch it burn? Because
Wow.
there's nothing you can do to save it. So that basically when the fire department got there, the only thing they did was spray the houses next to them so that the other houses wouldn't catch on fire, and just let that house burn straight to the ground. It was horrible. Yeah, that's sad. That's tough. So what else
We
is going
just
on in the celebrity streets? We got a breakup, a wedding. What else do we have? Some music that was dropped.
I think there's a delay, Mckenna.
Oh, I was just saying, in celebrity news, I think we have a breakup. I think we have a wedding. I think we have somebody released some new music. There was a couple of things that happened over the past couple of weeks.
Well, I know Ray J and his wife, they filed for divorce. I think this is the third time now. I did see that. New music, are you referring to Beyonce? And, police had to go on Instagram and had to let them know. We got to shout out Marsha. Definitely, there's a story behind Marsha Ree. Her nephew, he is an artist, and we're going to get with him because we're going to get an interview with him soon. But as she said, we know mental illnesses. Even a person who has not been diagnosed with a mental illness can tell when they are not functioning normal. That is either stress or depressed. And that is depression. And I can tell when I get in that mode. And when I get in that mode, I don't stay there. It's like, wait a minute, I don't like it. It's just so heavy. And lately, even being on social media, especially TikTok, the amount of people that you hear that's open about the struggles every day. You literally hear people saying that they don't want to be here anymore. But it's good to hear them saying they're getting help, though. See, that's the part in our community. We didn't believe going to therapists or therapy. We brushed it under the carpet. I'm good. I'm just stressed. I just don't feel like being bothered right now. So there are a lot of people that are getting help. And then there are other people who are not accepting the fact that something is going on. And then we have, when things don't go right in their life, relationship wise, financially wise, maybe they're in school and their grades or name it, there's many things could happen. And when you get to that place that you don't want to be here anymore, when you get to that place where you can't eat, you can't sleep, you can't do any of that, or you just sleep all the time, a lot of times they're smiling on the outside, guys, because sometimes we see them and we don't know. But there has to be a time where you just have to pick up the phone, and when I answer, and if I hear you just crying, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And you're just crying and you cannot get a word out, then it's time for me just to say, it's going to be okay. Talk to me. And just to listen. That's all it takes, just to listen. Mckenna, you want to chime in before we go?
I mean, I don't have anything to add to that. We just really do talk about checking on each other and being good citizens. Have fun. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Don't take everything so serious. Be able to make a joke out of somebody else's attitude. You don't have to match their attitude with attitude, as you gave that example earlier in the show. Lighten it up. Oh, I hope your day gets better. Because you sure seem like you're moody right now. Maybe you didn't get all your sleep in. Do you need a nap? Make light of a situation because sometimes that's what a person needs. A person needs for somebody to call it to their attention so that they can change it real quick. Because sometimes people aren't aware of the energy that they're exuding. And sometimes we have to give that person an opportunity to fix it. We don't always get it right away. So give the person an opportunity to fix it. Are you all right? Do you need something? You want me to come over there and ring up the next customer? I got you. I mean, I've made that joke before. They're like, no, I got it. Hang in there till the end of your shift. Or you look like you're ready to go home. You missed your nap. Is that the problem? Bring a smile to their face because sometimes that's what they need. They need that energy to be broken so that they can have just a little bit of humor to help them make it through the end of that shift or the end of that day or the end of that moment. So be an ambassador of goodwill. Spread positive vibes. Yield to the gossip. We all participate in 5 minutes of it, but just make it 5 minutes and then flip it to make it positive. Stop tearing people down. Pray for them, big up them, give them a hug if that's what they need. And don't co-sign other people's mess. There are some people that like to talk to certain people because they're going to have some mess to tell you. Be aware of that kind of energy because it's not healthy for you. And all it does is encourage the other person to continue in their mess. Sometimes if you're really a friend, you have to confront that person and say, hey, now listen, is there another way you could have handled this situation? Let's role play it out loud. I'm going to be you and you be me. And then you can really have a good laugh. So everybody just spread a little positive energy over the week. And I think we'll be just fine.
All I can say is that Mckenna said it. I mean, there's nothing else to say, but we'll see you here next Wednesday, 7 to 8 at thepowerhouseradio.com, 89.1 Victoria's Record Radio. But also, I want to shout out my friends. Seriously, my friends who have my back. Thank you. Thank you for having my back. Thank you to the Let's Gripe and the Powerhouse Radio listeners and supporters. Thank you. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't have the motivation to come and give you something new and talk about something. So thank you again for cheering us on and supporting us in our endeavors. And remember, when we make it all the way to the heart, we taking y'all with us, okay? So until then, hey, Brenda. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Them my peeps. Sometimes y'all be seeing me and while, Marcus and Mckenna talking, y'all see me looking out because this is what I'm doing. I be texting everybody, telling them to join us. So again, everyone that's tuning in now, please go on and subscribe to thepowerhouseradio.com and share and tell your friends about us. And I promise you, if you notice, you can see who the crazy one, who the mild one, and then we got that young man over there, a stand-up guy at that, y'all. Listen, we'll bring it. Whatever y'all want to talk about, we'll bring it. You got 3 people, 3 opinions. And on that note, Mckenna, you want to take us on out?
Y'all have a good week. Be blessed. Say your prayers. Say something positive. Do something fun. And we'll be back next week for another episode of Let's Gripe. Good night.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
The sounds of DJ Fourth Quarter in your ear right now. If you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're on your phone, let's gripe, baby. Driving home and you're feeling kind of tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day. So you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in to Powerhouse. Wednesday, 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? You need something to just ride to on the go. Or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try one
You're
time.
in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to
every Wednesday from 7 to 9.
Victorious 89.1 WAKE. Your unity in the community.